Mr. McGinty, you, as your side, you're done, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, unless the defendant makes a statement, we would, then I would reserve the ability to comment upon it.
Well, if you want to make a statement, make it now. Because then if Mr. Castro wants to make a statement, that'll be the end of it. Okay?
Your Honor, thank you. You have noted these are unprecedented crimes to call for an unprecedented sentence. We have great confidence in this court's ability to decide the correct sentence based on your experience and your understanding of the law and the 937 convictions before you. The presentation and the facts, that now that there is a record of the facts, demonstrate the depth of the defendant's depravity and the time appropriate. We agreed to a recommended minimum sentence of 1,000. There are 9,245 years available, $11 million, 650,000 plus available in fines. We do not want this man to profit now or in the future from this crime. We appreciate whatever sentence you deem appropriate. They took advantage of young and vulnerable children with a plan. This is prior calculated criminal acts. He's been a disaster to his community. The ultimate disaster, these 3 or 4 individual victims and to their families. The anguish they experienced is almost undescribable. In these short few hours here, we tried to help the record, help this court wrap and get a feel of the extraordinary deprivation that these victims occurred. One victim, Michelle, in the morning, she wakes up in the hospital, looks out the window for her first day, first time she gets to see the sunrise. It was a cloudy day, but it was beautiful to her. That was her first opportunity in over a decade to see what the outside looked like, to see what green looked like, to see life. What this man did as a master manipulator then and now, and it continues. We've heard this claim, sudden claim that he suffered from mental illness. There is absolutely no backing to that claim. He had no psychiatric disorder. It's noted in Dr. Resnick's, there's no psychiatric diagnosis. He has no psychiatric excuses. He is responsible. Does a man like he or Gacy or Bundy have a problem? They sure do. And is he a sexual predator? He sure is. And do sexual predators, should they seek help? They sure should. They shouldn't even engage in such an activity. He has no excuse. He has run a series of attempts to blame others. In fact, he takes no responsibility when questioned. He blames others. He blames the children and the victims and now women who entered his car for getting into his car. He constantly berated them for listening to him, for not doing what they were told, not doing what they were taught in school. He takes no responsibility. He has no sincere remorse. The only reason he pled to this crime and agreed to this sentence was to avoid a death penalty sentence for himself, for no one else. We heard the evidence of the methodical tortures and issues that he caused and the harm he has caused to the victim. I will not elaborate on it. It was the victims themselves and the doctors and the other witnesses have demonstrated that. But his attitude is what I want to comment. Before we hear from it again, he said if he had to do it, he would do it all over again. He doesn't believe he did anything wrong. That is what the ultimate issue is and calls for this punishment. There is no remorse, and that is a factor, as the court well knows, in the evaluation. admire the victims and their courage for how they survived, how they worked together, as we heard the teammates, is the word we heard today, to survive the ordeal, to live through this, to live to testify, to live to the point, survive to go back to their families, those that were left. Amanda, of course, her own mother had died in the meantime. She sadly wrote to her in her diary at a regular basis to her mother. Then she had to write to her deceased mother. She had to sit there and tell her loving mother what she would have told her. She then had to learn of her own mother's funeral. And then she has to learn of this man, the guy who goes to church on Sunday, comes home, beats and rapes her. That this man had the audacity to go to their vigils. And then they can see it on TV. He allows them to see it on TV, their vigils. Then he has the audacity to go to Gina's mother when he sees it online or on Facebook to go get a poster to post of the daughter he has, that he knows that her mother is looking for, begging for, praying for, and he has in his own home in East Georgia. This man deserves as many years and as much punishment as this court can possibly give him. We thank the courage of the victims. They have inspired us all. They have inspired law enforcement. They have inspired the prosecutors, and they have inspired their families, and they have inspired other victims in the future. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, before proceeding, I would offer the binder of our marked exhibits that are in support of the plea agreement. And I'll note that States 18, the firearm, will be retained by the state of Ohio.
Continuing objection to the introduction of the inappropriate material, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And Judge, specifically, we object to State's Exhibit 17, which is the actual full interrogation of Mr. Castro by the police officer. It's my understanding that the only thing that was going to be introduced at this hearing was going to be the synopsis that was presented by, I believe it was Detective DeJesus.
You met the other day about this, correct?
Yeah, and not the actual video itself.
That's not my understanding. I've reached no agreement with anyone on that subject.
Do you have the synopsis in here?
Yes, we can provide
Provided
it.
it, or is it?
If it's not in there, it should be.
Well, you can provide the synopsis, which you have read and is a less volatile version of events. That'll be accepted by the court. I'll return the DVD to you of the actual interview.
That's fine.
Okay.
Exhibit 11, Your Honor, is a 3-page written statement of Mr. Castro. That is, represents a synopsis that was the result of the second interview.
Well, Your Honor, the statement of Mr. Castro is in no way a synopsis of the more than a dozen hours of interrogation of Mr. Castro. That's Mr. Castro's, make you feel sorry for me statement.
Mr. McGinty, you seem to be operating under the impression that I don't know what this case is about.
I want the future reader of this record to know what it's about, Judge. 20 years from now, this guy's setting up his appeals right now. Promise not to appeal, he'll appeal, and he walks out the door.
I don't see the DVD in here. If you have it, keep it. If it's in here, you'll have to take it out at the end because the DVD won't be going. You can substitute
I
that.
believe it's probably on the witness stand, and I'll retrieve it.
Thank you.